Right, we're back live with you tonight on In Focus. Rand Water says it continues to be negatively impacted by the ongoing power outages. This as residents in large parts of Johannesburg battle with dry taps for a number of days now. The power utility says some pump stations remain affected due to load shedding.
The situation is deteriorating in terms of our reservoir storage level. There is a huge decline. Load shedding, we were impacted by load shedding at our Sekerbosch purification plant on the 13th of January. Also, we had an issue at our Ekenhof pump station. So those issues have impacted significantly on our storage, our level of our reservoirs.
Now, City of Tshwane Executive Mayor Randall Williams has meanwhile met with Rand Water CEO to discuss water shortages. The metro has been severely affected for days now. Tshwane MMC for Utilities and Regional Operations, Daryl Johnston, joins us for more on that. Daryl, good to have you and thank you very much for your time. What's the current status as far as water outages is concerned? Garsfontein, Acacia, Elders Park, Grootfontein, Mooikloof, Lodium, etc., etc.
Good evening, Thabo. We continue to work extremely hard to balance the system and work in conjunction with colleagues at Rand Water in order to lift the levels of certain reservoirs. As you've mentioned, we've been struggling over the last week and a half or so with those reservoir levels. We have in the last day and a half or so really managed to increase those through assistance, and often it's pressure related to get water into those higher lying areas. So through adjustments from our side on our network and adjustments made by Rand Water, we've been able to make a significant impact on those reservoir levels and start getting them back to more normal levels for general operations.
Yeah. So what are the contributing factors, for example, to see some reservoirs like Heights Reservoir being at 94%, Lodium being at 60%, Elders Park being at 68%, but you look at Soshanguve still remaining at 32%. Is there a particular explanation for that?
Well, Soshanguve was significantly lower than that. We were at really low levels at Soshanguve, and that's because we've been experiencing excessive demand on that side. So we've actually had to throttle the outflows in an effort to be able to raise the actual levels. So despite it not really looking good per se on paper, that is in fact a significant improvement from where it was, and it's taken a lot to get that right. The similar sort of situation that we were experiencing in Grootfontein and Mooikloof, same type of thing, where we've, through the interventions together with Rand Water, we've managed to increase those flows, and I think we're seeing more water coming in from their system and pressurizing it a bit better, and that's made a significant difference.
Yes.
And that's born out of the meeting that we had yesterday with the CEO and chairman of Rand Water. So we're working together to just try and work through this crisis.
This has, of course, created a major crisis in the health facilities there. I believe some of the patients, for example, couldn't use the bathrooms because there was just no water. And even the situation with the water tankers seemingly is not the solution, because apparently the water tankers, according to the ANC, the providers have not been paid, and so they are not providing you with water tankers. Well, what's the story?
Well, Thabo, I've had no complaints directed to me as far as that's concerned. I was aware of Kalafong Hospital having issues on supply, and water tankers were most certainly provided and delivered to the hospital to assist them. But the fact is we're just living in a totally dystopian situation where we just shouldn't be facing these sorts of things. It's not just electricity, it's water as well. And really these systems aren't designed to operate on this sort of basis. The expectation, whether it's water or electricity, is it's basically always on. And now we're having to juggle all sorts of balls to be able to just try and basically provide water across the metro.
Yeah. Is the Metro able to prioritize in terms of its money and resources and where it's pointing those resources towards addressing this challenge?
Well, we certainly do, and we work in a structured way. Rand Water targets a certain number of meters that they want flow control implemented on, and we try and adhere to that. But where we find that we're running into problems, we then work with them and offer them other meters so that we can then shift supply and shift the load around so that we can get supply to where we need to. So there's constant monitoring that's happening as far as that's concerned from the technical team side, and they're in constant communication with Rand Water in an effort to best balance the system across what is a massive metropolitan municipality. We span 6,300 square kilometers. So aside from just the standard difficulties, we've got to do it across a massive expanse.
So according to the CSIR, for example, they are saying it's going to take at least about 10 years to get back to an even supply of electricity. That's according to some of the reporting that is being done. Are you ignoring that particular fact in terms of your interventions? Because I suppose this paying Peter to, robbing Peter to pay Paul approach is not sustainable in the long term. There needs to be, I suppose, a much more long and sustainable response to this challenge.
Absolutely, Talva, and to that point, from my office's point of view, we've implemented strategic directions on both electricity and water, so that we look to the future, because this just hasn't been done. And on top of it, the situation is exacerbated by the fact that we're still waiting on the Lesotho Highlands Phase 2 project. Should have been delivered in 2009. I think we will be fortunate if we get that by 2029. And the associated delivery system and purification system from Rand Water's side that goes along with that, because it doesn't help that the dams are full, but we can't deliver it, and we're in that situation at the moment. Dams are full, but we can't get water to the end users. So we can't wait for those sorts of things, and so we are looking at a number of opportunities within the city. And as far as water is concerned, we're in a unique position compared to our neighbouring metros in Joburg and Ekurhuleni, where we do have our own sources, and we're looking to augment those so that we can provide a buffer and just provide a little bit of independence in terms of water security. Yeah. And the same will apply with electricity. We're looking at interventions there too.
So what would that look like? For example, your colleague, Jordan Hill-Lewis, in the Cape is saying they are, for example, thinking about procuring big generators, especially at these reservoirs, because the kind of power that is needed to drive these kind of pumps is not something that you can drive with a small generator. So they're looking in the long term to at least be able to have that in place should, of course, we continue to deal with this situation.
Yeah, certainly. We have to look at all the options. None of them are optimal because solar comes with its drawbacks, as do generators, because you've got to make sure you've got diesel in that generator so that it can run when it needs to run. But there's certain places where certainly we need to, and there are procurement processes already that were already underway in any case to provide generators at certain locations to try and just augment that and be able to pump water. But if we are able to improve our own electricity supply situation, then you negate the need to rely on those sorts of systems, and really you only need those as backups.
So if you were to give an honest assessment and bring the people into confidence, especially in lower-lying areas, we are now in stage 6 and will possibly remain there for the rest of the week. Are you saying at this particular point, lower-lying areas, they will not be seeing an improvement in the water situation anytime soon?
Tava, no, the low-lying areas are the ones that are a bit more fortunate in this situation. because just by virtue of gravity, they tend to get water feeds. It's the higher lying areas that rely on a pressurized system. So you either have a tower, like we do in Soshanguve, or in other locations where there's pumps that actually keep the higher area pressurized through pumps. And so it's those areas that are impacted, because our reservoirs have to be full to a certain level in order to be able to pump into the towers, or to run the pumps. And so really the appeal is that as an entire community, we really need to come together and to work together and conserve water as much as we possibly can. Really use it absolutely sparingly and only for critical purposes. So washing cars, washing down patios and things like that. Let's just stop doing it. Let's don't rush to flush, as they say, in terms of your toilets. Shower with a bucket in and use that water, whether it's to wash your hands or also to flush your toilet. Harvest rainwater and use that where people have got pools. Use that harvested rainwater to fill the pool, to water the gardens. But let's not be using critical, potable, drinkable water to water lawns and gardens. It's just, our fellow man is more important in these sorts of situations than anything else. And that will then assist the higher lying areas, and we'll continue to provide the water tankers to assist those communities in the higher lying areas in an effort to ensure that they have water too. They can't be left alone as far as this is concerned.
No, I'm saying deliberately lower lying areas because one of the tweets that has come from your handle, City of Tshwane, is saying Region 4, Littleton water will be opened for the higher zone. So the lower areas are likely to have no water for a while still. So areas like Kloofsig will have no water for a while. That's what you're saying. So because you're prioritizing the higher lying areas, the lower areas would maybe suffer.
Tabo, as far as I'm aware, the Centurion situation was related to maintenance work that was being undertaken on that reservoir. So I don't have all the technical detail at my fingertips. I'm aware of work that was taking place. So they may have done something there specifically, but under normal circumstances, normal operational circumstances, your low-lying areas tend to be the least affected areas, and it's your high-lying areas, because of the reliance on pressure through towers or pumps, that tend to suffer when we're struggling with water supply.
And all this, of course, MMC relies on money, and whether the liquidity of the metro is strong enough to be able to carry out all these interventions. From the 1.4 billion bill of Eskom, we get a sense that liquidity is an issue right now. So do you have money to be able to carry out all these things?
Certainly, and that's where your collection of revenue is critically important. We need residents to be paying their bills. If we're not getting money in, that makes it extremely difficult to pay those that we need to pay out. Be they Eskom, Rand Water, and all of the other service providers that we make use of across the city. So that is a critical factor, and then we've seen all the other issues, that have contributed to this. The fact that the city is unable to get loans because of the situation, but it's situations as a result of the illegal administration that left a legacy of significant deficits, and so that just makes your operating environment and conditions extremely difficult. So we need to work through those sorts of things, and obviously load shedding is impacting us, and it's costing the city a significant amount of money, continuously replacing cable, be it cable that is damaged and the equipment damaged through load shedding itself and the constant switching on and switching off for which it's not designed, or whether it's from the cable theft that we're suffering from because the cable thieves have got a perfect opportunity. The timetable is laid in front of them, and they know where they can steal cable and how long they've got to do it. And the city's having to just consistently replace cable, which it should never, ever be doing. And that comes from the coffers. It gets paid for by all of us as ratepayers in the city.
MMC, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Tshwane MMC for Utilities and Regional Operations, Daryl Johnston.